Hey everyone, George Weber here, G. Weber Arts, and we're here at the bench. And today we're going to talk about a little model railroading tip that's one of my personal favorites. Some of you guys might be younger, and the younger guys tend to have this problem. Frequently, you have multiple train engines that you've collected, and possibly a lot of different rolling stock, and you haven't had the time and money to spend on getting all the couplers to be the same. And this is especially true when you're buying, inexpensive little engines here and there on eBay or wherever, And so this is a real simple little trick that I'm going to show you that if you need to have a lot of different engines that you're testing because you're repairing engines or helping out your friends, or you're going over to your friend's place to run trains or whatever it is. There's a lot of different reasons for this. My personal reason is I only have a few personal trains, but I have to test a lot of trains because I'm repairing trains. So the problem comes in that if I get a Bachmann engine that I'm working on, or an Athearn engine, and the next day it may be some other thing, I never know what it's going to be. And one of the tests that I like to do is hook it up to rolling stock, all my box cars and whatnot, run it around the track and see if the engine is pulling well. Can it pull one car? Can it pull 10 cars? What can it pull? Because that tells me a lot about if an engine's running reasonably well or not. So I'm going to swap the camera around here and show you this little trick that I make use of to make my job much easier, and hopefully it'll make some of the stuff that you guys want to do easier too. So we'll be right back with that. Okay, so here we are over the layout, and we're going to talk about today's little model railroading trick about couplers. If you guys are like me, maybe you have a lot of engines that you need to test and repair for people, or maybe you just have a lot of engines in your collection. Maybe you just bought an engine. Whatever it is, this is a little trick that can help you out in the long term as well as in the short term. First, like a lot of you guys, you've probably converted your rolling stock over to KD couplers like this one. And the reason you've done it is because horn couplers like this one just really are not very good. We all know it. We've all been there. And a lot of the trains that we buy, whether it's rolling stock or engines, when we first get it, it's got horn couplers. And the first thing you want to do, of course, when you get a new train engine is you want to hook your engine to your rolling stock and roll it around. Or if you're like me and you're repairing a lot of engines, you need to be able to test an engine by pulling some rolling stock. The problem comes in for me that I can't change the coupler on a customer's engine. And maybe you just don't have the extra couplers or the extra finances to buy a bunch of extra couplers for all the extra engines you have. And that's where we get into this little trick. This is what I call an intermediate car. And I'm going to try to get it on the track here and keep the camera steady at the same time. There we go. What it has is on this end, and this is simple enough, anybody can do this, is on this end of it, it has a KD coupler. Then on the other end, it still has its original horn coupler. Obviously, what that allows me to do is to hook up to my rolling stock on one end and hook up to my engine on the other end. Now these two, they have height issues, so I need to mess with it for just a second. There we go. And now I can very easily power up and off it goes. No problems. So there you go. Intermediate car. Now, a couple of suggestions I'm going to make with this is, number one, don't use a flatbed or a gondola for your intermediate car unless you have some extra weight to put into it to make it fairly heavy, because gondolas are notorious for getting disrupted through switches, curves, and any number of other things. And especially if you're reversing, the light car will always be the first one to derail. So put some weight in your gondola or your flat car if that's what you're using. Better to use a box car, something that's been weighted already. The next thing is let's say you've got an engine that has a KD coupler and you've just bought some new rolling stock from wherever, and the rolling stock has horn hooks on it. Well, you just take the same car and just turn it around 180 degrees. Now it hooks up to your engine, and the horn end hooks up to your new rolling stock, so you can test it out and mess around with it. So this is a useful way of being able to test engines and cars and whatever with whatever couplers they have on them, just by using this intermediate car. It saves you money, it saves you time, and it saves you headaches. So I hope this has been a good tip for you model railroaders out there, especially my younger viewers who I know don't have tons and tons of money to spend on couplers and fancy stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you'll give this video a thumbs up, and hope you'll subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you on the next one.